Hello everyone and welcome to another part of the Galaga SDL tutorial series. And in this video we are gonna continue working on the game where we left off on the last video. So this is what we had so far. We have our start screen, and when we press enter, it takes us to our level, which is our play screen, and so we have the sidebar set up for the play screen. So what we're going to do in this video is have our theme sound play and show a start label here at the beginning, and then show our stage and set the flags, and then if it's stage 1 we can say ready and wait for a bit, and then get everything ready to actually put in the player and enemies and so on. And this is what we're going to be doing in this video. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is to add a few variables to our playscreen.h. So in our playscreen.h, first we'll add the audio manager so we can play our theme sound. So audio manager pointer audio. Then we have our stars and sidebar, but what we're going to do is add the start label as well. So texture pointer start label. Then we'll add two floats. One is float level start timer, and a float level start delay. Then we will add a boolean game started, and then one more boolean for the level and an integer for the current stage that we're on. So boolean level started and an int current stage. And this is what we're going to be needing for now. We will also need two functions. One is a private. We'll call this one void start next level. And what this will do is it will load the next level that after the one that we just finished. So current stage will start off being 0, and then this is going to increment it once and then load stage 1. If we're in stage 10, this is going to increment it to stage 11 and then load that stage. So next up is our public function, and this will be called void start a new game. And this one is going to be called from our screen manager to start a brand new game. So it sets the stage to 1 and it resets everything, so the player score becomes 0 and so on. So now that we have this function, we can actually call it from the screen manager right now. So we can go to the screenmanager.cpp, and where we want to call it is when we're switching from the start screen to the play screen, and this happens right here. So in the start screen, in the case start, once enter is pressed, we want to call play screen and then start a new game. And this will get everything set up to start our new game. So now if we go to playscreen.cpp, we can implement the start new game function. So void play screen start new game. And in here we'll initialize a few variables. First, we are going to stop the stars from scrolling, because the stars might be scrolling while the start screen is coming up. For example, right here, if we press start now, the stars are still scrolling. So we want these to stop so that we can show the start label. So we will say stars scroll to false, and then we will get all the values of the sidebar reset. So sidebar set high score, and this will set to 30,000 for now until we're saving. And then sidebar set chips to 2, because the player starts with 2 lives. The set level will be added later on in our level class, so we don't need to worry about this for now. And then we will do game start m game started is equal to false, because we want to not start the game until the start label is off screen and the theme sound is done playing. And then m audio, we want to play that audio sound that we have. So the audio, I found an audio file, a wave file for the game sound. It's 6 seconds long, and it's just the theme sound for Galaga. You can probably find that online. And we will play this sound using the framework. So we have our audio manager, play music, and then we'll give it the file name. So this one is called gamestart.wave. So gamestart.wave. And for the looping, we don't want it to loop infinitely, so it's by default -1, which is an infinite loop. So we can just set it to 0 instead, and that will only play once. Then we can set our current stage to 0. And as I said before, this will be incremented in our start next level, so our first stage will actually be 1. So we're starting from 0, so it can be incremented. So this will be it for that. We will need to initialize our audio manager. So m audio equals audio manager instance. And then we can probably take these out because they're being called here. So that's fine. We can take those out. Then we can initialize some of the variables that we have here as well. For example, the level start delay, how long we want to wait until the level started. For that, we will say m level start delay is going to be equal to, we'll give it 1 second for that. And then over here, we can say that our m level started is equal to false. And we're setting game started to false here, so that's fine. So that's everything initialized for now. Next up is the second function that we declared, which is our start next level. And for this one, we'll put it right up here. So play screen, start next level. And for start next level, we are going to be incrementing our current stage. So m current stage ++. And then we will set our level start timer back to 0. So m level start timer is equal to 0.0f. And then m level started is going to be equal to true. So this will be it for our start next level for now. Now we just need to put in the functionality so that we can show the start label first, and then once it's off screen, we can call the start next level function. So the first thing that we'll need to do is create our start label. Over here, right under sidebar, we can say m start label is going to be equal to a new texture, and this will take in start as a string. Our font will be emulogic.ttf, and then the size will be 32, and the color will be 150, 0, and 0. Then we'll set the parent to this, so m start label, parent is this, and then m start label, the position. So we want the start screen to be centered on the screen, but we also have the sidebar. So let's take what we have in the sidebar for now and put it right here. And then the sidebar should be, it's not exactly centered on the Y, so we can change this to 0.5 so that the start is centered on the Y-axis. And then on the X-axis, instead of 85, we'll give it something like 0.5. So that's centered on the screen, but it won't be centered on the play area, so we'll change that in a second. Next up, we will need to clear this memory that we just allocated, so we'll say delete m start label in the destructor, and then m start label is going to be equal to null. And that will be it for initializing the start label. So we just need to start rendering it now. So the start label will be rendered as long as the game hasn't started yet. Once the start label is off screen, then the game is started, so we don't need to render the start label. For that, we'll say if the game is not started, start label render. We probably don't even need those. So if the game hasn't started yet, render our start label. And then now in update, which will have the bulk of our logic. Now let's try to run it and see what it looks like right now. So we're here, press start. Okay, so the sound is playing fine. This is probably a bit too far to the right, so we need to move it to the left a bit, but everything looks fine so far. The stars are not scrolling, they're static in place. But this one is flashing before the game actually starts. So we want to update the sidebar only once the game starts. And for that, we will say for the sidebar, if the game started, so if game started and level started, so if the level and the game both started, update our sidebar. So that will stop the sidebar from flashing the one player label before the game actually starts. Now we need to remove the start label after the game, after a certain amount of time. So once the music stops playing, we want to remove the start label off the screen. For that, we will say if the game already started, we'll do our level delay. So wait for about a second and then start the level. If the game hasn't started yet, wait for the music to stop playing. So else if mix underscore playing music, but would not at the beginning. So if the mixer is not playing any music, then our game should have started already. So game started is equal to true. And now as soon as the music stops playing, the start label should be gone. So let's try it out and see. There we go. So it's off screen. Hopefully the sound is not too loud. Actually, I'll just lower the sound altogether. Okay, so now it goes off screen, but it's a bit too far to the right, so let's move it to the left a bit. So let's say something like 0.4. And that should be good for that. So the 0.4, we replaced it for the start label. We set its width to multiplied by 0.4 instead of 0.5. Now we can do the logic for the level start. And for the level start, we'll say that if the level started, so if the level hasn't started yet, we want to wait for the delay. We set our delay to being 1 second, so we'll wait for 1 second, and then once the 1 second passes, we want to start the next level. So or actually, let's increment first. Level start timer plus equals timer delta time. If level start timer is more than or equal to level start delay, start our next level. And that will be it for this part. Maybe for now we can say that, so in start next level we can say sidebar set level to current state. stage. Let's have this like that for now and see what happens. So if we hit enter, there we go. So it waits, it disappears off the screen, it waits 1 second, and then starts our level. So this seems to be working fine. And this will probably be it for our play screen for now. So next up, we need to implement our level so that we can show the stage, and we show ready if it's stage 1. If it's not stage 1, it goes on to the next stage right away. For that, we will create our level class. So we can go to our solution, add new item, a header, and that will be level.h. So that will be level. And then if not defined, underscore level underscore h, define underscore level underscore h, and then end if class level public game object or game entity. Keep forgetting that. Okay, so we need to inherit, the level will be inheriting from game entity, but we'll also be including a few things. The first one will be the input manager, so include the input manager. We will also include the play sidebar and the background stars so that we can control the background stars. So include play sidebar, and we'll also include the background stars. Now in here, in the private area, and then public. So for private, we will have our timer, so a timer pointer, timer. We will also have a play sidebar pointer, and this will be called sidebar, and then background stars pointer, and we'll call this one stars. Okay, so we have the 3 big variables that we need. Now next up, we will need to include a few more variables. First one being int stage, which is the stage that we're on right now. Boolean stage started, and stage started will be true after we show the stage and the flags are done showing on the screen. And then once the stage disappears, and then if it's stage 1, once the ready disappears, we can start the stage. And then float label timer. So this will keep track of all the labels that we're trying to show on the screen before the stage starts. And then a texture pointer, stage label. A scoreboard pointer will be stage number. A float stage label on screen, and then a float stage label off screen. And this will be the starting point where the stage label appears on the screen and the end point where it disappears. So this should be good for now. We will need one private function. We'll call this one start stage. So void start stage. And we will just have the constructor, destructor, update, and render for the public. So level. For the constructor, we'll take in an int stage, and we'll also take a play sidebar pointer, and we'll call this one sidebar. And this will be the sidebar from our play screen. Next up is the destructor, so a level destructor, and then void update and a void render. And that will be it for now. Actually, you might as well add the ready label as well. So texture pointer m ready label, and then a float m ready label on screen, and a float m ready label off screen. And this is the same idea as this one, when it goes on screen and when it goes off screen. And that will be it for our .h for the level class. Next up, we need to implement our CPP. So we will go to here, add new item, and that will be a CPP level, and we will include our level.h. Okay, so for our level, we will start off with the constructor. So level, we'll take in an int stage, and a play sidebar pointer sidebar. So let's start by initializing some of the variables that we have here. So the timer, the sidebar, and the background stars. So mTimer is going to be equal to timer instance. Our sidebar is going to be equal to the sidebar that we're passing in. And the sidebar set level will be our stage. So that way we don't need to set it in our play screen. The level would set its stage by itself onto the sidebar. And then mStars is going to be equal to background stars instance, and this will be it for the first three variables. Our stage is going to be equal to the stage that we're passing in, so mStage is equal to stage, and stage started is going to start off being false. What else do we have here? The label timer. So label timer, just like all our other timers, it starts out being 0. So m label timer is equal to 0.0f. And then next up, we need to initialize these textures right here. So m stage label is going to be equal to a new texture, and this one will say stage. The font is emulogic.ttf. The size is 32, and the color, the stage color in the game was bluish, a light bluish color. So we'll have it as 75, 75, and 200. And then m stage label parent is going to be equal to this, and m stage label position is going to be the same position that we had for the start. So if we go back to play screen, we have our start label. We'll take this position right here and paste it where the stage label will appear. So they're going to be in pretty much the same place. They're going to replace each other on the screen. Next up is the stage number. So m stage number is going to be equal to a new scoreboard. And the problem here now is that our scoreboard is always white. We need to change the color of the scoreboard. So if we open up our scoreboard.h, since our constructor doesn't take in any color, what we can do is have an SDL underscore color and call this one mColor here. And then we can create another constructor that takes in an SDL color. So scoreboard SDL underscore color, and we'll call this one color. And then, so that's in scoreboard.h. In scoreboard.cpp now, we can go up here, and what we can do, because we already use this in a lot of places, so what we can do is have this one call this one with our color that we had as the default color. So we can say that scoreboard in the CPP, scoreboard, and then pass it in the color, so SDL underscore color color. And here we can take the score from the top one and pass it here and say that our M color is equal to color. So we're setting our color and setting the score to 0, which is fine here now for now. But instead of using these colors, these hard-coded colors in, we can say M color instead. So M color here and M color there. And then for our scoreboard default constructor, we can just over here say colon scoreboard and then pass it our color that we used before. So 230, 230, and 230. And this will be it for that. So we are setting the color. So we can go back to our screen manager. We probably don't need that much stuff. So that's it. And that's setting the score to 0. So that should work like before. Actually, maybe we should test it out and see if it's still working. Oh, so 3 errors. Okay. Update. Oh, it's because we haven't implemented the rest of the functions here. So let's quickly implement them. Level destructor, and then void level update, and void level render, just so that we can test the scoreboard. So over here, if we run it, so we still have our scoreboards showing. Now, if we want to change the scoreboard color, we can just do that using now our second constructor. So if we go to our level.cpp, and over here, we can pass it in a color, and this color will be the same color as the stage, so that they match, they both have the same color. So it would be 75, 75, and 200. And this will be it for our stage number. We will set its score to our stage. So M stage number score is going to be M stage. And then M stage number parent is this. And M stage number position. So for the position now, we need our position to be where this is, but a bit to the right. So it will be the same thing, but let's say 0.6, and then we'll edit that later on. So now that we have these two being initialized, we probably need to clear all that in the destructor. So M timer is going to be equal to null. Then M sidebar is going to be equal to null. M stars is going to be equal to null. Then we will delete M stage label. M stage label is equal to null. Delete M stage number, and M stage number is equal to null. So that clears pretty much everything that we need for now. And what do we have next? The ready label. So ready will be pretty much the same idea. Oh, right. First, we need to also add the start and end time for our stage label on screen and off screen. So, M stage label on screen. So it's going to come on screen right away. So 0.0f. M stage label off screen. And it will stay on screen for 1.5 seconds. Then next up is our ready label. So M ready label equals a new texture. And this will take ready for a string, mulogic.ttf, and then 32, and the color will be 150, 0, and 0, because ready was red. And then mReady label parent is going to be this, and mReady label position is going to be pretty much the same as the stage label. So we'll pass it the stage label in here. And then for on screen and off screen, we will have it m ready label on screen as soon as ready stage label off screen is done. So will be equal to m stage label off screen. And our ready label off screen now is going to be equal to our ready label on screen plus, well, we want it to stay for about 3 seconds, so 3.0. And that will be it for our constructor. Our destructor, we need to delete the ready label. So delete m ready label, and then m ready label equals null. And now that we have everything being cleared and everything being initialized, we can go ahead and start in our update function. So what we want to happen is, as long as the stage hasn't started yet, we need to increment the timer to start to show the stage number, the ready label, and so on. So we can say if not m stage started, m label timer plus equals m timer delta time, and then if the m label timer is more than or equal to, so the last thing that we're going to be showing off on screen is the ready label, and this is when it goes off screen. So once it goes off screen, we want to start the level. But that's only the case when the stage is 1. If the stage is, let's say, 2, we want to start the level as soon as the stage screen is off, the stage label is off screen. So we can say that if the timer is more than or equal to the stage label off screen, so m stage label off screen, we need to check. If it's stage 1, we need to wait for the ready label to be off screen. If it's more than 1, we just start the level. So we can say if m stage is more than 1, just start the level. So we'll say start stage. Otherwise, it's equal to 1 then. If it's equal to 1, we need to wait for the ready label. So we can say m, or if m label timer is less than or equal, or more than or equal to m ready label off screen, then we want to start the stage. And this will be it for that. There's one more thing that's missing, is to start scrolling the stars. And we want to start scrolling the stars as soon as the stage is off screen. So if the stage label is off screen, m stars scroll to true. And this will be it for our update function. We will need to create our start stage function. So let's go ahead and do that. So underneath the destructor, void level start stage. And start stage will be pretty straightforward. Our label timer is going to be equal to 0. So we're resetting the label timer for the next state. Or initializing the label timer. So we probably actually, we don't really even need to reset the label timer, because we're going to be destroying this level and creating a new one once we're done with that. So what we're going to do is say m stage started is equal to true. And we have this function so that we have a place to go to that we know that the stage just started, so that we can start spawning things in here. So for now, we'll just have m stage started equals true. And then finally, our render. We want to render these labels as long as the stage hasn't started yet. So we'll say if not m stage started. If the label is between the stage on screen and off screen, we want to render the stage label. So if m label timer is more than or equal to, or if it's more than m stage label on screen, and m label timer is less than m stage label off screen, so it's between these two values, m stage label render, and m stage number render. Else, if the label is now more than m stage, or what do we have here? Not stage. We want to show it if it's the ready label is on screen. So if ready label is on screen and m label timer is less than m ready label off screen, then our m ready label render. And that will be it for this part. So we're only rendering it if the label is between these two values, render the stage. If it's between these two values, render our ready label. Otherwise, it's not going to be rendering either of those, and then we can start doing, let's say, the rendering of the player and the enemies down here in an else statement, because the stage already started. So this will be it for this class. We're pretty much done with this class. We can now go back to the play screen and create our level. So we'll say include level.h, and in here we will create our level. So right above this boolean, we'll say level pointer m level, and then in the play screen.cpp we'll set, so over here m level is going to be equal to null, because we don't have a level to render at the beginning until we create a new one whenever we need to. So we will create this level down here in start next level. So instead of the sidebar set level, we will say delete m level. So delete the old level, and m level is going to be equal to a new level, and this level will be our current stage, and it will take our sidebar. Now that we're creating new levels and only deleting them afterwards, or before we're creating them, we need in our destructor to go here and say m level, or delete m level equals null. So that will be it for that. And then we just need to run the update and the render for the level. And for that, when the game started and the level started, we want to start updating our level. So in here, m level update, and then over here, so this is only rendering it if it hasn't started. We want to always render the sidebar, so we don't need that to have any if statements around it. But for the level, on the other hand, we can say if m game started and m level started, m level render. And that should be it. So let's go ahead and run it and see what we have. So if we press enter, we have our start here. It disappears, stage 1, and it sets the level, sets ready, and then ready should go off screen, and then we're ready to start our level. If our starting level, let's say our current stage is 10 on the other hand, ready should not show up, and it should start right away. So stage should say 11, and then ready should not show up. There we go. So ready didn't show up, it said stage 11, and the star started scrolling right away. And so this seems to be working pretty well. The only thing is that the stage alignment is kind of off. So what we can do is, so our stage label and number over here, we can move the stage to the left a little bit, and then move the stage number a bit closer. So we will have the stage at 0.35, and for the stage we will have it at 0.5. So let's see what this looks like. There we go. That seems to be working pretty well. If we have let's say stage 105, it should still show that stage. So 106, and then it shows everything there. So yeah, that seems to be working pretty well. And this will be it for this video. I really hope that this video helped. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, please leave them below. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.